Well, hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for today's presentation. Hang on one second. Um, Thanks for being here for today's presentation, How to Get Your Career in Gear, a Plan for Young Professionals and New Graduates. My name is Jeff Murphy. I'm a member of the Alumni Career Engagement Team from the BU Alumni Association. Today's webinar is offered to our 385,000 alumni around the globe, and of course, all of our current students. And we appreciate everybody who's joined us today. Some of you I know are joining us from some places very far away from our Boston campuses. Throughout your career, BU is committed to helping everyone define and achieve your professional goals. We aim to do this by providing all of you with access to a series of valuable programs, tools, and communities. In addition to this webinar series, which we're glad that you've joined us for, one of our most exciting resources is a free online community called BU Connects. If you haven't already signed up, I hope you'll take just 5 minutes to do that right after this presentation. Log in and activate your profile at buconnects.com. There are already over 30,000 BU alumni and students on BU Connects. It's the very best place to build your professional network among other terriers. You can also join regional and special interest groups. And even more importantly for your careers, you can find a mentor, be a mentor, or hopefully do both. Before I introduce today's speaker, just a couple housekeeping notes from me. Today's presentation is being recorded and will soon be made available for on-demand viewing on the Alumni and Friends website, which you can find at bu.edu/alumni. Our speaker today is very eager to answer any questions that you may have, and you're welcome to submit them throughout the presentation. Again, hover over your screen, find your Zoom toolbar, and click on Q&A. Go ahead and type your question, and at any point, we're going to definitely save some time at the end to get to those. I'll also keep my eye on the chat, so if you're more comfortable just typing a question in the chat, please feel free to do that as well. It's now my pleasure to introduce our speaker for the day, Wheelock College of Education and Human Development Master's alum and career inspirationalist, Kim Bilawchuk. Kim is passionate about helping others live in alignment with who they are truly meant to be. The term career inspirationalist was invented to describe her unique approach to looking at life, work, and purpose. Whether speaking or coaching, Kim uses her skills and intuition to provide a tailored experience as unique as a fingerprint to help her clients remain grounded in the present and get plugged into mind-blowing possibilities for the future. Kim, again, has her master's degree from BU. She also has an MBA from Boston College and a bachelor's degree from UMass Amherst. She's also a certified yoga teacher, Ziva meditator, Reiki healer, and infinite possibilities trainer. Kim lives in Lowell, Mass. With her husband and her son. Kim and I were just talking about this, but her daughter has just started university in Ontario, Canada, but thankfully you still have your family pup at home as well. To learn more about Kim, I definitely want you all to go to her website at kbcareercoach.com for more information about the work that she does. Kim, thank you so much for being here yet again to share your talent and expertise with our community. All of your presentations have been great. We're really glad to have you back. I know you've got a slide deck if you want to go ahead and get that up and running, and then the floor will be all yours.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Jeff, for having me back. I know sort of lost track of how many of these I've done, but I'm always excited to be back and share my magic with the BU community. So without a lot of further introduction, I'm going to just start and get in, but I'm going to invite you to slow down a little bit first. So if you're coming from meetings, I don't know what time it is in Malaysia. Thank you for being here again. I don't know if it's bedtime, the middle of the night, whatever it is, but I'd like you to shut down any applications that you have open aside from this. Turn the ringer off on your phone. Maybe wiggle your toes on the earth below you, really feel grounded. Close your eyes if that feels okay. Nobody can see you. And take a deep, full breath in through your nose if you're able. And a big sigh, open your mouth and let it go. I'm going to invite you to do that again. Deep, full breath in. Notice any place you're holding any tension. Send a little breath into that special spot. And with an exhale, let it go. Soften just any amount. We'll do that one more time. Deep, full breath in through your nose. And a big sigh out. If you're in a space that you can really sigh it out, then make it vocal and let it go. I think you've all received a handout as part of the invitation or confirmation for this. So if you have that in front of you, I invite you to keep that and a pen. Otherwise, just maybe a pen and a blank piece of paper. You can download it later.
And
But I want you to, yeah, go ahead, Jeff.
sorry, Kim, just for anybody that might have missed the handout that I sent out, I'm going to actually put a download link for it in the chat right now.
Okay, great. Thank you. So Jeff already gave you a background on who I am, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time looking at this, but I have been in my own private career coaching practice since 2008. So it was actually my second baby. I had my daughter, started my business, and then had my son. And I work at the intersection of career exploration, mindfulness, and magic. And we're going to talk about all of those things here today. I really help people let go of the shoulds and live a life in alignment with your best skills, interests, values, personality, both personally and professionally. Like Jeff said, I have a MED from Boston University. I like to say this is the first degree that I had that I did because I wanted to and not because I should. My dad was a banker, and so I have a business degree from both UMass and from Boston College. And like Jeff said, I live in the greater Boston area, just north of the city in Lowell. So our agenda today is to get clear on what you truly desire. We'll talk about how to do this and why it's so important. I will help you gain some confidence in the education and experience that you've already collected. No need to go acquire anything else. I will help you learn how to connect with the people and opportunities that are most relevant to where you want to be and why. I will save some time for Q&A at the end so that we have lots of chances to answer any questions that you might have. But before we get started, I'd like to know who's here today. Jeff, if you'll launch the poll for me, we've got current college students. I guess you'd probably be a BU student. Well, not necessarily if you're a graduate student. Are you a recent grad, somebody that has less than 5 years of experience? Are you a professional with 5 to 10 years of work experience, 10 to 20, 20 plus, or do you fit some other category? So if you take a minute, and I can't see who you are, so just let me know, just pop in there and say who you are. This will just give me a sense for who's in the room. This is the downside of being online. The plus side is we have people from Malaysia. The downside is that I don't get to like mix and mingle with all of you here. So maybe just another couple seconds here to pop in and tell me who you are if you fit one of these categories.
And we've got almost everybody who has responded. So, and this is actually great to see. We've got a huge mix of folks across the board. So you should be able to see the
Wow,
results
almost
now,
even.
Kim.
I can, yeah. So we've got about a third of you are current college students, and 23%. Oh, we've got it's probably a little missing piece right between. I wonder if that's the other that's between like 0 and 5 years of experience, but that's okay.
Oh, I'm
So
sorry. I
we've
must have
got,
missed that one.
nope, that's okay. But if we do the back up the math here, we've got, I don't know, maybe 3/4 of you have less than 10 years of experience is the way I'm looking at this maybe. So that's great. Cool. Thank you for participating in that. All right, so let's steps first. We're going to get clear on what you want. And I like definitions. I'm kind of a word nerd. So the definition of clarity is the quality of being coherent and intelligible, the quality of being certain or definite. This may mean lack of confusion. And I took one Latin class in high school, and that's all sticks with me. So I always go back to Latin origins of the word. This one's not very exciting. It comes from the Latin clare, which means clear. I don't know if that adds any value to you, but I wanted to start with this because it's important to know, like, kind of that we're on the same page here. So this comes to our second poll. I want you to share with me how clear are you and what your career looks like or what it could look like. So we've got here from a range of 1 to 5. 1 being I have no idea what I should be doing. I know what I do not want to do, but not sure what to do. I'm not sure. Parts of my career path are clear, but others are not. I have a fairly good idea where I want to be. And number 5, I'm very clear I'm on the right career path. So if you could take a minute there and tell me where you're at in terms of clarity here. My guess is that most of you are college students or recent grads, and you're here that you're not entirely clear. You're in the right place. You've come to the right space. I'm going to help you get clear.
And some of us have been working for 30 years and are still maybe not so
Still
clear
figuring
about.
it out. Yeah.
All right, well, we've got almost everybody who's who's chimed in here. We'll give it just one more second, and then I'll share the results with everybody.
And again, no right or wrong here, right? We're just trying to get a sense. I'm just trying to get a sense for where you're at, what's important to you. No idea what I should be doing, 8%. I know what I don't want to do, but not sure what to do, another 17%. Not sure, part clear, part not clear. Pretty good idea of where I want to be, 19%. So we've got, I'm going to start this 11, 19, 30. So we've got about, again, 70% of you that are sort of in the not sure, kind of like 3 and below. So no idea to maybe parts that are clear. So, all right, great. Thank you for sharing that. You're in the right place. We're going to help you get more clear today.
Sorry.
Nope, that's okay. So here's the deal. Most of us never take time to think about what we really want to do. Jeff mentioned I have a daughter who just started college, university in Ontario. And, as a mom who does this, we've spent a lot of time trying to help her figure out what she wants to do. So she's probably a little bit different than most, but most of us really never think about what we want to do. We go pick a university because it's in the right place, or they give us a good amount of money to go to school. Maybe the major is great. Maybe we change majors multiple times. I'll talk about that in a second. Um, Maybe we land in a job that seems okay, it pays us enough, but a lot of us don't make the time to think about what we really want to do. We get stuck in these shoulds of like, ooh, we should do this, right? I said I was a business major because my dad said I should. He was a banker and he said I should wear a suit every day. That was his goal, not my goal. And it took me a long time, probably till I got to BU, to figure out that I could do something completely different. So kudos to you for being here today to figure that out. I also like numbers, not really numbers, but like representative numbers, not calculating numbers. But 12 is the number of job changes that the typical American is going to have in our lifetime. 12 is a lot. So if you figure you're working in a like 40-year career, that sounds like a lot. Let's make it 36 just to make it divisible by 12. You're changing jobs every 3 years. I have a good friend and colleague that I worked with many years ago. She's leaving her job next week after being there for 29 years. She is way off the chart in terms of average. So it's important to know what you want and how to manage that. If you're not excited about what your career path is, it's not the right path. I'm going to say that again. If you're not excited about it, it's not the right path. So if you're doing something because you feel like you should, or you feel like it's the right thing to do, and you're not excited about it, and it doesn't like get that excitement in your belly, or that fire in your belly, or that excitement in your chest, it's not the right path. The right path is out there. So don't feel like if you're not excited about it and it's not the right path, you don't know what to do. I'll help you figure that out. So I'd like you to take a second and just notice, like, what's your dream career? It could be anything. I just put some things up here, right? Are you a dentist, or your teacher, an astronaut, a princess, dog walker, a jewelry designer, an architect, a farmer, Olympic swimmer? You can be anything you want to be. And the cool part is that there's so many options today than there were 5 years ago, right? As a result of the pandemic, all of these things. I used to come to BU and do these presentations in person with Jeff, and now we have the ability to do these online, right? So there's so many different things that are available, but I want you to think about like whatever pops to your head initially and just jot it down on your piece of paper. And sometimes we have these things that are sort of stuck in us, but if we give ourselves permission to think about that, then it starts things to be easier. I worked with a student who was a history major several years ago at a different university. And I said, what would you like to do? And she said, well, I would open a Mexican restaurant, and this is what I would like it to look like. And this is my special on Thursday nights. This is what I'm doing on Saturday mornings to get more people into the, restaurant after Friday night. And I was like, why are you studying history again? Right? And so sometimes we get stuck in those things and we need some ways to undo and redo them. So I'd like you to write that down. I'll give you a clue. My piece in here is that I would be a jewelry designer. If you could see all the things that I have here in my jewelry box upstairs, that's my fun spot. This is fun too. This is a map of kind of like you are here, right? And we can imagine that you're wherever you happen to be today. But if you put into your GPS, as an example, an address, if you don't have an address in your GPS, you're never going to get to go where you want to go, right? So let's imagine you're in your car, sitting in your driveway, and you say, car, you turn on the GPS and you say, car, go. It's not going to know where to go. If we put in any address, even if it's not the correct address or it's somewhere close to that address, and I say, like, from me in Massachusetts in 30 miles north of BU. I'm going to put in Boston University. And even if I come out of my driveway and go left instead of right, or I turn north instead of south, it's going to help me course correct, but it's going to at least get me a destination. I don't want you to focus on the how, right? So you say, well, I want to open a Mexican restaurant. I want to be a jewelry designer, but I don't know how. Let go of the how. The universe is going to help you fill those things in as you start to make small aligned movements in those particular areas. I'll use my daughter as an example, right? New college student. She loves art. She loves science. She's really creative. She's really social. She likes to do a lot of things. She's studying industrial design. So she spent 6 hours yesterday learning how to use Adobe Illustrator. Not my thing, but her thing, really cool, right? She's got all these other things that she's been able to draw and build and work with people and figure out solutions. So again, my goal for you is to help you figure out what this big mark is here in the middle, so you can start to make some small movements toward that. I'm going to say this again. I'm going to say it a lot. Let go of the should. Let go of what people expect you to do. I know that's hard if you've got parents who are paying for your tuition, which is not inexpensive, that you feel like you need to have a job that's going to pay you a lot of money. I just want you to let go of what you should do and just explore. Just be open to some different possibilities. On your sheet here, I've asked you to think about your superpowers, and your superpowers include things that you are good at. So it could be your education, it could be what you've studied, it could be a particular project that you worked on, it could be a work experience that you've had, it could be that you make the best apple pie anywhere in the planet. It could be something that you do when you lose track of time. I hope all of you have something that you do and you're like, man, I can't believe 4 hours went by. And I'm not talking about scrolling on your social media feed, but something that you actually spend time in. I'm a huge jigsaw puzzler. I've got a jigsaw puzzle I've done over probably 65 or 75 since the beginning of the pandemic. I always have one, I'm pointing over here, on my dining room table, right? We haven't had like formal dinner in 5 years, right? Because that's what I do. That's what I do when I lose track of time. So I'd like you to stop and think about the things that are your superpowers. What are the things that you would share with the world that you are good at? It doesn't have to be related to your major. It doesn't have to be related to a job. It doesn't have to be a should. It's just something that you enjoy doing. So I'm going to give you a couple minutes to just think of that. I'd like you to think of the things that come really quickly to you and not like overthink it. What are the things maybe you did as a kid? I just found a photo. I was going through a drawer. I just found a photo of my son building with blocks when he was in preschool. He still builds stuff. He builds bigger stuff now, not little wooden blocks, but he builds things with his 3D printer, and he redoes his bike, and he puts things together, and he solves problems. All of those things have clues back to when he was 4 years old. So think about what those are for you. What are the things that you bring to the table? I'll give you a second to think about that. If anybody wants to share what your superpowers are, I'm happy to sort of have Jeff read those out if that's interesting for you. I hope that everybody can think of at least one or two things that they're really good at. You get anything in this chat, Jeff?
Not yet.
Not
Sometimes
yet. Okay.
if you're like me, it takes you a while to think about what your superpowers are. So
Yeah. Okay. Shopping. I love that. I'm a super shopper too. My
thanks,
UPS man
Annika.
has already been here this morning. Yeah.
I mean, that's a
And
career,
that's,
right? There are people who are professional
yes.
shoppers.
Yes, that's not punctuality, fantastic, right? It's always good to be somewhere on time. And in my daughter's mind, being on time is like 30 minutes early, which is fine. I love soccer, I'm a people person. I love interacting and connecting with people. Awesome. My kids are both soccer players also. Drawing, writing, research, liberty analysis. See, we've all got superpowers and they're all different. So great. I want you to thank you for sharing those and keep thinking of them. And if you can't think of them now, as you go through the course of your oh, baking. Yeah, my daughter's a baker and we're missing having her here because we haven't had anything baked in 8 weeks. So yeah, continue to think about this as you go through. The next piece of this is thinking about what's important in your career. So we're thinking about these sort of as ingredients of things that we want to include. I've got a really long list here. So I want you to think about these on your worksheet too, about what's important. Is it, excuse me, exactly what you're doing? Is it the work environment you're in? Is it the money that you're making? Is it the location? Is it the people you're working with or the managers you're working for? Is it the responsibility that you have either internally or externally to your organization? Do you get to be creative? Creatives, I could do a whole presentation on creativity. We're all creative beings. We've been stifled in a lot of the things that we are required to do, but we are all creative, whether that's painting, taking a photograph, baking something, building something, creating a presentation like this. We are all creative people. At the level of supervision you have, some people like to be told exactly what they need to do. Some people like to be have a little more creative freedom. Is it time flexibility? I have a client now that I'm working with. She's required to be in the office 5 days a week from 8:30 to 5. They just got acquired by a company that's going to allow them to work from home 2 to 3 days a week. She is like a kid in a candy store. She's like, I get to go to the gym on those days. I don't have to wear, a suit every day. I can just like dress from the waist up. She has time to, schedule whatever appointments she needs without commuting into the office. Huge deal for her. Maybe that's not a big deal for you. Maybe on the flip, I have another client whose job went completely remote during the pandemic, and she's at home by herself and losing her mind because she can't interact with anybody, right? So two sides of the same coin. Think about how that works. Structure of the job, the culture, the people that you're working with. Do they recognize your achievements? Is it a stable company, organization, industry? Is there a sense of community? Does that matter to you? Is there room for advancement? Is there an intellectual challenge? Are you helping others? Number one reason for job satisfaction, that you're helping other people, whether you're doing it directly by having a conversation like I am, or you're programming something and not talking to anybody, but you know what you're doing is helping somebody in some way, shape, or form. Number one source of job satisfaction. Recognition. A lot of these are similar themes and using different words. So think about what's important to you. What are the things that are most important in your job that you can start to mix together, right? You might say, well, work environment is really important. Maybe salary is not. Maybe salary is right now, but you have some flexibility in the stability of your company or organization. All right. I would love to go into a whole exercise on this because this is my thing. And I don't have time in the context of this. So I have a download for you. It's a free worksheet to help you further visualize the life you desire. It asks you a whole bunch of questions to think about when you start to imagine what your ideal job looks like. I ask, like I said, a whole series of questions. On the flip side of that, I've set it up sort of like a Mad Lib. So it's like a fill in the blank, right? Dear blank, I'm sending this to you. Things are great here. This is what I'm starting to envision. The whole point to this is that you're starting to move forward out of the potential stuckness that you're in and start to think forward about the kinds of opportunities that you could imagine. If you can imagine something, it's already on your way to get there, right? Maybe it was like an amazing opportunity that you got to attend Boston University. Did you ever imagine that that would happen? I think about the things I've manifested: cars, family, vacations. We just finished our renovating our kitchen, all kinds of things, right? So think about the things you have manifested and think about how you could do that even better. Like, can you 10x that and make it exactly what you want? So I'm leaving this here for a second just so you can download that free handout. I'll share it again toward the end of the piece, but I would encourage you to spend some time really thinking about this. We're really just scratching the surface here. Once you have that clarity about what you want to do, then the confidence almost comes in as a byproduct of that. But I'm going to give you some other pieces to think about here. Again, we're going to start with a definition. Confidence is the belief in oneself and one's powers or abilities to do something. It doesn't have to be an overconfidence, right? That I'm like the best person that I've ever done this, but something like, hey, I can do this. I have earned this degree. I have taken this course. I do have this work experience. This comes from the Latin confidentia, from the verb confidere, which means to confide or to come together and trust. And oftentimes that confidence means that we are not trusting or believing in ourselves. And that starts to crumble things down a lot, right? So even if you have the experience, but you don't believe that you don't have the confidence in those skills and experiences, we're going to have a mismatch there. So once you get clear on some of those things, the confidence tends to come as a byproduct. Let me know how you're feeling about your career confidence. On a scale of 1 to 5 here, I have no confidence in my career direction. Most days I don't feel confident. I'm not sure. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Most days I'm quite confident, or I'm very confident in my career direction. We'll see if this aligns with where you are in terms of clarity. It generally has a correlation, right? If you're not clear, then your confidence is going to be low. So I'm going to expect, without influencing your decisions here, that most of you are probably not super confident. You're on the lower end of the spectrum here.
I think there's a lot of good news in these polls. We didn't have anybody that has zero confidence.
Everybody checked in? Most people checked in?
Oh, I haven't shared the results. I'm so sorry. You should be able to see them now.
That's okay. Okay, yeah, awesome. All right, so we got a few of you who are super confident, which is great, but it looks like most of you are kind of, sometimes good, sometimes bad, which is okay. You're kind of in this middle range here. So thank you for sharing those, Jeff. This is one of my favorite quotes, and I shared this as we were having dinner the other night, and I said, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. And this is a Henry Ford quote. And my kids were like, wait a second, Mom, you say this all the time, but I didn't know it came from Henry Ford. I thought his favorite quote was, you can have any color you want as long as it's black. Right? That was his Model T, right? Oh, once upon a time. So this mindset is a really important piece of the puzzle here. Whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. I have some clients who come and say, I'm never going to get a job I want. I don't know what I want. I don't know. I'm never going to get there. And I say, you're right. And they're like, well, what do you mean you're right? Well, you're right. If you don't think you can, then you're not going. If you don't think you can, then you won't. So I want you to start shifting that. Your beliefs and your thoughts are so incredibly powerful. We have something like, I don't know, 9,000 thoughts that come into our head every day, and most of them are not positive. From the way that we dress, the way that the weather is, like, we have all of these subconscious thoughts. So if you can notice what those are, catch them, and turn them into something positive, you're going to be ahead of the game. I'm going to give you some examples here too. I hope this is going to be a confidence booster, but the top skills that employers are looking for in candidates include collaboration or teamwork, problem solving, and communication. And my guess is that at some point in your lives, you're probably all at least in your, early 20s, you've had a couple decades on earth here, that you've worked as part of a team on something, that you've solved some kind of problem, and that you've communicated with some other human in some way, shape, or form. These are skills that you can create from your education, from work experience, from planning a birthday party, from figuring out how to, somebody said they like to build bicycles, right? From figuring out how to get the bike correct, by having a conversation with somebody to figure out how to do that. So I want you to check these off, like, yeah, I have those, right? Hopefully that's a little bit of a confidence boost. This is, I do have an Envato account. I didn't realize that this was, I pulled down the not the real one. Do not compare yourself to others, right? If we look at all of these beautiful flowers here, how can you say that one is better than another? Even if you don't like flowers, some of these are just really different, right? They may come out at different times of year. They may blossom at different times. But by comparing yourselves to others, especially as you reach that graduation point, you've been in sort of lockstep with all of your peers all the way through, right? All the way through grade school and elementary, grade school and high school and college. And then all of a sudden it's like a free for all. And then people are like, well, this person's making a lot more money than I am. This person's traveling. This one person bought a condo. Like, don't compare yourself to them. They might not be happy, and they probably aren't if they're making all that money and they're just doing something they don't enjoy doing. So rule number one, don't compare yourself to other people. Gratitude is a huge way to boost your confidence. Take a moment now and think about 3 things you're grateful for right this minute. Could be mine. I opened the window before I started. It's really warm here in New England today, unusually so for November 1st. But think about 3 things you're grateful for, right? Your favorite pen, your favorite pants were clean today. There was one more bagel for breakfast this morning, whatever it happens to be. You can jot these notes down here on your worksheet as well. You learn from your mistakes. Like, any failure is a learning opportunity to help you do something again the next time. You're going to do it again and again and again, right? You think of a young child learning how to walk. They don't fall over and think like, oh, I'm never going to learn to walk again. They get up and they do it again and again and again until they figure it out. Then they learn to run and climb and crawl and all these other things, right? So think about how you can continue to learn from your mistakes. And I don't like the word mistake. I like to think of them as learning opportunities, right? We've all made mistakes and things that we probably wouldn't do again. That's okay. We've learned from that. We're not going to do it again. So use that as an opportunity to better yourself. Get out of your comfort zone. I know that seems a little bit counterintuitive, but sometimes we get stuck in this little small area, like this little fishbowl here, and we either stay because we feel like it's comfortable and or somebody else expects us to stay in that area. What if we jump out like this little fishy here and become ourselves? Stop playing small and step into all the magic that you're here to be and share on this earth, right? All those things we talked about at the beginning, those superpowers, that's what we need to step out and do. So if you think about like, being stuck in this small little area, what if you got out of that area and did something a little bit different? That you started to do, take a class that you were interested in, or that you had, took a job that didn't seem relevant, but it was really fun. What if you gave yourself that permission to do that? Do what makes you happy. This raises your vibration, which is going to increase your confidence. So I just listed some things here, right? Dance, sing, cook, fly fish. I have a client who's a fly fisherman. Do a jigsaw puzzle, get outside, spend time with people you love, snuggle with your pet, laugh, create, walk on the beach, whatever you fill in the blank is for you. I live about a quarter mile from the Merrimack River here, and I went for a walk this morning, and I met a little girl who's 2.5, and she was dancing. She said, she waved to me. She had her cute little ponytails, and she said, "Do you want to see me dance?" And I said, "Absolutely, I want to dance." So we had a little dance party by the river this morning. It was fun. It was easy. I was outside. It was like a vibration raising piece. So by doing that, you're going to feel more confident than if you stay at home and don't do anything or talk to people. These are my superheroes. This superhero pose is this TED Talk was created by Dr. Amy Cuddy. She did some work at Harvard and I think UPenn, but she did some research that said if you stand like these superheroes are Incredibles, that it changes the physiology of your body to give you more confidence. If you can stand rather than sit, if you can stand up straight instead of slouch, you're gonna like give yourself space for that energy to flow. So if it feels comfortable for you where you are right now, I know we're kind of like halfway through this. If you want to stand up and put your hands on your hips and just stand here for a few minutes and see how it changes your mood or your energy level, then I invite you to do that. I can't see you except Jeff. So you can choose to do that if you want. Um, so I picked these superheroes. She originally did this with Wonder Woman, but I felt like we needed a little bit more updated superhero piece. So I often recommend this to my clients if they're doing an interview to walk around like this, and just it gives your chest space to bring in more oxygen, allows your shoulders to open. We spend so much time hunched over on our devices and all kinds of things that this just gives you some space to open up. The TED Talk is one of the most popular TED Talks ever. So if you want to do some research on that, you can get some more of the science behind it. But I just wanted to give you one more piece to say, you know what, you're taking up more space here. It just gives you a little bit more energy and confidence to move forward. All right, let's take one more deep breath in while you're standing in that superpower pose, like big breath in through your mouth, or through your nose rather, and out through your mouth one more time. We are about 2/3 of the way through this, and I want to leave some time for Q&A. So the next piece is to get connected. This is one of my favorite pieces of the work that I do. I'm going to give you a definition of the word connect. Here I've got it as a noun to establish a relationship. This comes from, again, from the Latin to fasten together, I got a paragraph, a parenthesis missing here, but to pull together and to connect. We're going to do one more poll. This is our last one. I want you to think about your career connection and how connected you feel to your professional network. I'm going to give you some examples. You're probably more connected than you think you are. This we're flipping over to the back side of your handout if you're following along with me. But your scope here, your range here goes from I don't feel like I have any professional network. I have few people. I have some people. I have a good amount of people. Or I have an excellent professional network who I connect with regularly. I'm kind of double dipping here, right? Like, do you have one and are you connecting with them? But I'm going to just leave it as this for now for purposes of this exercise. So where are people feeling with their professional network?
Got about 2/3 of people who've chimed in. We'll just give it one more second here. It's a great strategy on your part to take a sip of water while we ask people to weigh in on these poll questions.
Thank you. That's why I inserted polls.
Very smart, very smart. All right, we're almost at 80%. Last call. I think this is a tough question too. Like I have a tough time deciding which one I would choose, and it changes. Obviously, there are seasons to this, but all right, let's go ahead and
Absolutely.
share those results.
All right. So good news. Nobody's really at just a couple of people who feel like they have no professional network. But again, we're kind of hovering in the middle, like few to many, good amount. I know these are all subjective numbers. I didn't want to put anything, I don't want to lock you in anywhere, but at least most of you are at least, I'm going to say like 2/3 of you at least have some to a good amount of people in their professional network. And they've been helpful, or you feel comfortable asking them for help. I have no superpower. Nobody here has a networking superpower that's excellent professional network that you connect with regularly. I think this is a tough question, right? I think you said, like you said, Jeff, it changes over time. And I think based on our confidence and how clear we are, then it impacts our connection piece too. So thank you for sharing that.
Also interesting to think about the way that technology has interrupted people's ability to make those strong
Yeah.
connections. But
Yeah. We're going to talk. Yeah. We're going to talk about the difference. Yes. I'm going to come back to that in a second. So thank you for bringing that up because I agree that it's been a pro and a con. I want to start with this though, and I get this from a lot of clients and potential clients. Submitting hundreds of job applications online is not a productive job search strategy. I'm going to say that again. Submitting hundreds of job applications or even dozens of them online is not a protective job search strategy. For those of you that are maybe here watching the recording who have done this, I'm guessing, based on my own informal research, that many of you have probably heard from very few of the applications that you've submitted online. And I'm going to share why in just a second. Most of it comes back to that clarity piece and the confidence piece and the ability and easy access to technology that says it's really easy to just click submit on our devices. 70 to 80% of jobs are filled through networking connections. So if you're spending 100% of your time clicking submit online, you're missing 70 to 80% of other opportunities that may never be advertised, may never be posted, may never be available online anywhere for you to connect to. So then you're only looking at maybe 20 to 30% of the available opportunities that you're clicking to. So when you're sending those online applications, many times just a few of those are getting through. The other piece that's really important, and this goes back to what Jeff was saying, is that 3.74 is our degrees of separation from any other human on this planet. This used to, you might not know, like the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, right? For those of us that are old enough to remember that or have parents that are. And now it's, and actually this number is from 2012. So this is not, I couldn't find a more recent one, but I'm guessing that with the technology we have now, that this is even a smaller number, right? We're really super connected to the people. From a technology perspective, not necessarily from a human connection perspective. And I'll talk about the difference in just a second. But this would be, for example, let's say that you're, and I'm going to anticipate this, we're going to talk about this in a minute. You don't know anybody that can help connect you. But let's say that you know somebody, like it's your college roommate's significant other's cousin, right? We're at 3 degrees of separation from where you are. It's not a cold connection because you know your roommate, obviously, right? You probably have met their significant other somewhere along the line. And maybe you met the cousin at a barbecue, or maybe it's the cousin's, significant other, right? So we're not looking at picking up the phone and trying to figure out how we can do this. But if any of you have LinkedIn profiles, you can see how easy it is to get those 2nd and 3rd degree connections. Again, another whole topic of conversation that we don't have time to cover today. Yeah. Oh, sorry. 2016 was this the date on this. So we're still like almost 8+ years from here. Here's why applications don't work online. Employers are looking for 3 things when they're looking to hire somebody. Can you do the job? Do you have the basic skills and requirements to do the job? This is what they see from your resume. This is true, right? And for those of you that are looking to transfer careers or transition to something or do something different than what your degree says you're doing, you're going to get sort of pigeonholed or stereotyped into that particular area, which may or may not be exactly what you want to do. I'm working with a client right now. He wants to be like the next big horror book writer. So from that perspective, he likes to write, he's into theater, but his degree, went to vocational school, is machine shop. And I was like, so that was like the first part of his resume. I'm like, but you don't like machine shop. He goes, no, I'm a writer. I'm like, then let that go and focus on the things, right? So if you're using a resume that has stuff on there that isn't where you want to go, then those applications aren't working for you. Employers also look at, will you do the job? Are you passionate about the job? And will you do it? Are you interested in do it? I always use the example of, I'm really good at doing laundry. I can do it really well, but I hate doing laundry, and I'm not going to be passionate about it to do it for anybody else besides me and my kids. My neighbor can do it, loves doing it, has run a laundry department at a hotel chain for the last 15 years. Can't imagine doing anything else. Difference between can you do it and will you do it? And are you a fit? Are you, in line with the work values of the organization? Is your personality a fit? Culturally, like from a cultural, corporate cultural perspective, are you in alignment with what you want to do? You can see already that from submitting applications online, you're only getting at that can do piece and not will you do it or will you fit. So we're going to flip this over and start talking about informational interviews, which is really just a structured conversation in which you seek information about a career field or occupation from a knowledgeable individual who's employed or connected to the field. Let's say, for example, I want to work in higher ed. I call Jeff and say, Jeff, can you tell me what it's like to work at Boston University? You've been there for a while. You've worked in some different departments. What is it like to work there? This provides you with a firsthand look at an occupation and is often your greatest source of real information. How else am I going to know what it's like to work at BU if I don't talk to a human that works there? I can see what they post on their website. I can walk around campus. I can walk into some offices, but Jeff's going to give me much better information than I'm going to get by doing those things. And this allows you to make a connection with a human who can evaluate your interests and potential fit for a role or organization or career path. Jeff might come back to me and say, you know what, Kim, you've got a really good skill set, but I don't see that it's a good fit for higher ed. Why don't you consider something different? Or based on your skill set, I think this is great, but not, in my department, think about something different. The benefits of informational interviews are many. That helps you gain clarity on your career idea or choice. So rather than just figuring that out on your own, you can start to give some feedback from other people. It helps you build confidence and skill in your ability to talk about your goals and interests. It increases your vocabulary in the field. What are the buzzwords that people are thinking about? It helps you make connections with potential employers and increase your job and internship leads and resources. It helps you practice your interview skills because you're asking questions and answering questions from the people you're talking to. And it helps you plant seeds. So let's go back to that example that I talked to Jeff and I say, tell me what it's like to work in higher education. And he says, well, this is great. I think you'd be a good fit for this, but I don't have any job opportunities or openings for you. I've still planted a seed because as Jeff goes through his life over the next days and weeks and months, he might hear something from his network or connections for somebody who's looking for the kind of skills that I have. So even if he can't help me today, I'm still planting those seeds for a potential future opportunity. Remember when I said though 70 to 80% of jobs get filled through referrals, Jeff could possibly be my referral, right? Okay, I want to differentiate the difference between networking and connection in my mind. Networking is establishing a relationship, right? We're meeting people. Maybe we're at a networking event. We're handing out business cards. Maybe I see them online. Maybe I attend a presentation like this. To me, connecting goes a step deeper to building and nurturing that relationship, right? I have lots of people in my network. I was working with a client the other day and talking about, people that they could reach out to get more information. And I had one person, who I know Jeff knows as well, who's worked in higher ed for a long time. And I said, this is a great connection. I've known this woman for many, many years. And I know that, she and I have a good relationship. I pulled up somebody else and I said, this person is part of my network, but I have no idea who they are. They might have seen me speaking somewhere. They might have met me through somebody. I have no idea who they are. Different between part of my network and being a connection. I hope that makes sense to people. We can talk more about that in the Q&A. Just keeping an eye on the time because I want to leave time for questions here. We do networking all the time and it doesn't need to have a relationship involved, but we exchange information, advice, and referrals. Where's a good place to get pizza? Who's your favorite teacher? Who makes the best coffee? Where do you get your haircut? What kind of car do you drive? Where did you go to college? Where did you stay when you visited? Fill in the blank. Who do you know who? Blah, blah, blah. Fill in the blank. Networking could also be a supportive system of sharing information about people who have a common interest, people who went to the same college or university, same major or minor, same club or organization, sports team, place of residence, hobbies, pets, important causes. Networking could also be, and this I think is the closest one to connecting, is a fabric or structure of wires that cross at regular intervals and are knotted and secured. Those knots and security knots and in the fabric are places where we have those connections, where we not just lay on top of each other, but we've got that connection between people. We're not just part of the network, but we've got some relationship or some commonality there. And then networking is an extended group of people with interests and concerns that remain in informal contact for mutual assistance or support. So on the back page of your handout, I've asked you to list 10 people that you can reach out to this week to request an informational interview, just to learn a little bit more about this. Friends, relatives, neighbors, former, current employers, coworkers, faculty administration, former students, alumni associations, Connect BU Connect. I always get it backwards. BU Connect. Community and civic leaders, government representatives, professional associations, people you read about in the newspapers, magazines, people listed in directories, people working in a field or organization of interest to you, social, religious, athletic, or community activities. One of my best friends I met in line, standing in line at Costco. True story. I'll tell you about that another time. Jeff's like, yeah, I believe that. Anyone you meet standing in the line at the grocery store while you're at the dentist getting your hair cut. Think about all the people who sit and get their hair cut between the time you get it cut this time and next time. Do you think that, and they always talking, right? All right, but I don't know anyone who can help you. I'm going to give you this really quick example because I think this is really powerful. Here we are in Boston. I had a client who lived in the Boston area who wanted to move to LA. And I said, you need to, she tapped into her alumni association. She tapped into people that she went to high school with. She tapped into all kinds of people. So I said, you need to ask every single person you know if they know somebody in LA. So she said, Kim, who do you know in LA? I was like, I don't think I know anybody. I pulled up LinkedIn and I found my buddy Paul, who is my high school friend. Actually, we sat together next to each other in fourth grade many decades ago, but I haven't really talked to him in like almost 30 years. So I sent a message to Paul. I was like, hey, I've got a client. She's a recent grad. She wants to move to LA. Would you be willing to talk to her just to make sure she doesn't land in a dangerous neighborhood when she moves there? Within 10 minutes, no joke, 10 minutes, he sends me his personal cell phone number and his email address and says, have her reach out to me. She reaches out to him and he offers her a job. Actually, he said, I don't really want this job, but are you, I know you don't want to work for me, but I'd be offering you the job. I'm going to refer you to my friend Dave, who lives in Northern California, San Francisco area, I think. Paul's previous coworker, he said he has a lot of connections in that area. Tell him that I sent you. So she comes back, she goes, Kim, what do I do? I said, contact Dave. So she goes to Dave and Dave goes, oh, you're a friend of Paul's? So she's like, not really. He says, well, go through my LinkedIn profile and tell me who you want to meet and I'll connect you with whoever you want. So she goes back and she gives him 2 or 3 people. He said, no. If you're a friend of Paul, I want 20 or 30 people. She said, Kim, what do I do? Like, I'm not a friend of Paul. And I'm like, I'm not really a friend of Paul either, but that's what he asked you for, so do it. So she did. And he refers her back to all these people in LA. She gets a job, an apartment, a lead on some other connections and some other people out there. She's now been out in LA, I'm going to say 5 or 6 years. True story, right? You never know who's going to be able to help you. So just ask. What's the worst they can say? No, I don't know anybody. But if they say, oh yeah, my college roommate lives there, or my cousin, or my best friend, or the person I went to kindergarten with, or whoever, right? Doesn't matter. So the bottom of this, I'd like you to list 10 people you could reach out to this week to request an informational interview. And I'm going to challenge you, can you get to 50 or 100? And I think you probably can without a lot of work, right? Think about the people that are in your class, people that you went to college with, people you live around, people in your family, all of those people that we listed already. So finally, I invite you to think about next steps here. I want you to choose one thing that you can do to get clear about your career direction. So go back and think about what you actually want to do. What are your superpowers? What are the things that are important for you? What's one thing you can do to increase your confidence about your skills and experience that's going to make you a viable candidate for those kinds of jobs? Number 3, connect with the people who can help you get more clear and more confident. Use your alumni association. What did Jeff say? 385,000 alumni of Boston University. Do you think you can find 10 of them that might be willing to talk to you? Yeah, 100, probably 1,000. Not out of the realm of possibility. You don't have time to do that. Download and write your manifesting letter. I'll give you the link for that in just a second. And I invite you to connect with me on LinkedIn. It's just my first and last name. in that, please let me know who you are. Because I sometimes don't, well, I will often connect with people because that's what I like to do, but just say, hey, listen to your BU webinar, and connect with me on BU Connect. I'm there as well. Here is the Manifesting 101 piece. I'll come back to this in a second. I'm going to open this for questions. I'll leave this up while I open that up. So I hope this has been helpful for you. I hope you have some nuggets of information that are helpful. If you choose to work with me, I work with my clients privately in small groups. I do other speaking engagements if you have a group that you'd like me to speak for. I have executive clients who are not necessarily shifting gears, well, maybe shifting gears, but not necessarily looking for a whole job change. I'm happy to have any conversation with you, and I always have a soft spot for my BU alumni friends. So I'll stop there. Questions, comments,
Yeah, you've always been
ideas?
an incredible resource for BU, Kim. Thank you for doing this and everything that you've done for BU. You opened the door, so I have to walk through it. In terms of making that list of 10 people that you can connect with, this BU Connects platform makes it incredibly easy for you to find people
Yes,
who are willing to do that, even if they don't know you or have
yes.
another connection. So make sure you check out our website to learn more about how to use BU Connects to do that. Do you have a couple great questions that came in? And Kim, I don't know if you've got a hard stop at 1 o'clock. I think we can probably get
I
through all of
I
them,
do
but
not.
okay, great.
Yeah, if you want
I
to go
don't mind
beyond that,
running
go ahead.
over. So Diane asked two really interesting questions. Let's do them back to back. So the first one, you talked about, the strategy of applying for hundreds of jobs online is not an effective one. Diane is just looking for a little bit of clarity. So are websites like ZipRecruiter just a complete waste of time? What's your take on that?
My short answer would be my short answer is yes, and I'll qualify that because I think it's a good opportunity for you to see who's looking for to hire people. But what I would do is go back to BU Connects or LinkedIn and find out who you know that works at that company that you can have a conversation with. So you're not just submitting a resume. And by the way, I see a lot of resumes. A lot of them are poor at best or at like average. They're not really going to share all of the information you are. I have a client right now I'm working with. He's had a extensive experience in financial services. He wants to teach at the undergraduate level, and he could submit 1,000 resumes. But if you met this guy, you would want him to be your teacher. So the passion piece, I think, is important in getting through there. So I would use some of the online boards just to see who's out there, but I would see if you can have a conversation also.
A couple people in the chat asking again for that handout. If you're not able to download it, or if you've got a work laptop or something, I'll definitely send out Kim's handout that she's referenced in the follow-up email, whichever email address you use to sign up to be here today. So following up on Diane's question about ZipRecruiter, similarly with LinkedIn, Diane's feeling like she's never really benefited from LinkedIn. What are your thoughts for the best way to get, value out of your time on LinkedIn? And is it good only for certain careers or maybe certain industries?
Good question. I think LinkedIn is a great place to see and be seen. I feel like it's a great opportunity for you to both have a professional profile, but also be able to reach out to people to do some informational interviewing or see or learn more and gain more clarity about what you want to do. So I think we see, and you may see this on other social media, right? There's some people who join other social media and they just kind of lurk in the background and they're probably not getting a lot out of it. There's some people who are more active and commenting on posts and engaging. There are a lot of other ways to be more proactive on LinkedIn. I think it depends on the career that you're interested in. I don't know, Diane, what you're looking for, but I feel like I don't know, there's something like 6 million people on LinkedIn. I would think that you'd be able to find somebody who can connect you in some way. But I think we get stuck in the wait to see if somebody asks me rather than somebody like using it as a proactive tool. Not sure if that answers your question or not.
Great, thanks. Brianna's wondering, how can I create a resume I can be confident in if I have zero work experience in a new field that she's trying to get into? You talked about this a little bit with your your writer who had the, metal shop or whatever it was, uh,
Yeah.
listed all in his resume.
Yeah. My guess is that you probably have some experience that's going to help get you closer to where you want to be. So, what can you pull from courses that you're taking, or have taken, experiences that you've had? Is there a way that you can highlight what you've done from a functional perspective instead of a chronological perspective? So I'm good at teamwork or communication skills or project management or problem solving, and not thinking about where you've attained those skills, but that fact that you do have them. So sometimes it takes a little bit of massaging or flipping things over. You've spent 4 years as an undergrad. Do you have anything that represents that other than, Boston University, Bachelor of Arts in fill in the blank? Like, are there courses or projects that you did, other things that you did on campus, or things that you're doing in the community as a young professional that you can highlight there? You plan everybody's birthday party in your family. You're a project planner, right? So sometimes it's just building that confidence to be able to switch. So I hope that answers your question.
And everything that you said just addresses a question that Mo put in the chat here. Do we always have to go to school to switch careers? Does it
No.
necessitate another degree? Mo's currently working in technical recruiting, but has interest in hotel management. It's everything you just said about how you're articulating and showcasing the skills that you do have from all areas of your life, right?
Right, exactly. And I think we get stuck here, especially in the New England and Boston area. There are, how many different schools and colleges and online certificates and all these things, right? And I say that with all loving respect, with three glossy degrees hanging on my wall, but you don't need to do that necessarily to switch. You don't need to have a degree to switch careers. We get stuck here. Sometimes you do. If you're going to go work in higher ed, sometimes they like you to have a degree because that's their product. But I know lots of super professional, successful people who don't have degrees in the things. And here's the statistic wasn't part of my thing, but something like only 25% of us use our undergraduate degree in our career long term. So 75% of us are not. I'm not using my business degree on a daily basis. I'm not using my MBA really at all. No, so short answer, no, you do not need to go to school to switch careers.
Yeah. Well, Kim, we've run up against our time. Thank you so much again for doing this. I love listening to you talk about the things that you talk about. You're have like so realistic, and you have so much passion behind it, but you just, I think, help people understand things that they already know, that you just have to get a little bit organized, and clarity, confidence, all of those things. So thank you so much for doing this today, and for everything that you've done for all of us at BU over the years.
You are very welcome. Thank you for the opportunity. One final plug, if anybody wants to email me, I'm happy to have a conversation. You can check out my website. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. Hopefully you got the QR code for that, and I'll share that link with Jeff so he can send that out in his follow-up as well. Connect, stay in touch, keep me posted. Let me know how I can help. Thanks
Yeah.
for the opportunity, Jeff. I appreciate it.
No, it's our to our benefit, and thank you again. I want to thank everybody for joining us today, particularly those of you that have donated to BU in the past. We can't do the work that we do without your support. Our next career webinar is coming up on Thursday, November 7th. The title of that one is Elevate Your Resume: How to Beat the 7-Second Barrier. So for a lot of you that had questions about resumes, you can sign up for that session now on our website at bu.edu/alumni. I also have to mention, Kim, you talked about creativity fairly early on in your presentation about how everybody can be creative. It's just a matter of tapping into that. We're doing a whole other webinar on November 15th about the creative core and how everybody can build that muscle in themselves. So you can sign up for all of our upcoming events on our website at bu.edu/alumni. As always, just keep an eye on our alumni events calendar. Keep an eye in your inbox for our monthly alumni career newsletter that we call The Edge. We always are highlighting new events coming up, or sharing recordings like the one that Kim has done for us today. You'll be able to catch that on demand. Obviously, spend some time checking out BU Connects, and then we also have a really great podcast called Proud to BU. So lots of resources for everybody out there, whether you're a student or an alum. Again, thank you everybody for coming. But Kim, thank you so much for doing this for us. It's always such a treat for me to be able to work with you.
Thank you. You're very welcome.
All right, everybody have a great day or a great evening wherever you might be. Take care.